We throw the word savvy around quite a bit, don't we?
We do.
Like someone's tech savvy or street savvy or financially savvy. It just kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
But what does it actually mean to be savvy? Underneath the casual use, what's the real practical intelligence there?
That's a great question. And the sources we looked at give a really concise definition. It goes way deeper than just being smart.
Okay.
So being savvy means having real practical know-how, sharp perception, shrewdness, and fundamentally it's the ability to understand things quickly and, well, deeply. And the word itself, interestingly, goes back to Latin, sapere, which means to be wise.
Ah, okay, so it's linked to wisdom.
Exactly. Practical intelligence, wisdom in action. That's sort of the core of it.
That definitely reframes it for me. It's less about just smarts and more about applied wisdom.
Right.
So today we're doing a deep dive into what it really means to embody that savvy in, well, two really crucial areas of life.
Your money and your people skills, basically.
Exactly. Personal finances and professional interactions, including what it takes to really get ahead in the business world.
Yeah.
Our sources today break down exactly what savvy looks like in practice, from managing your cash to navigating those tricky office dynamics.
Right.
So for you, our listener, we're really hoping to give you those key insights to be, more perceptive and effective in these areas. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with something I think, well, pretty much everyone can relate to. That feeling, that sinking feeling when you've spent money and bam, instant regret.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
Or just that low-level stress of, wondering where did all my money actually go this month. Our sources really highlight that financial savvy isn't just about dodging those bad feelings. It's actually key to your overall well-being, your happiness even.
Absolutely. It really is foundational.
And it starts somewhere surprisingly basic. Just keeping a close eye on your finances. Budgeting, regular checks, stuff we kind of know we should do.
Yeah, exactly. And the first source we dug into, it lays out 7 really practical steps to becoming financially savvy.
7 steps.
Yeah. And what's interesting isn't just the list itself, but how foundational these steps are.
Right.
They really build up that base of financial control.
Right.
So it starts with number 1, learn the basics. And this means actively engaging with financial info.
Not just letting it wash over you.
Precisely. Reading those brochures from your bank. Actually using the apps that come with digital bank accounts, the ones that track spending and help you budget. Using the internet for research.
Makes sense.
And a really crucial point the source makes. Check your bank statements regularly. Really look at them. Are there weird transactions? Potential fraud.
Good point. Easy to overlook.
Totally. And also, being mindful of things like cash withdrawal fees. Sometimes taking out a bit more cash at once is actually smarter than paying fees on lots of small withdrawals. Those little bits add up.
Yeah, those £1.50 charges here and there.
Exactly. Step 2 is about thinking digital.
Which most of us do already, right? Online banking is so common.
It is. It's super convenient. But, and this is a big but for security.
Uh-oh.
The source really warns against using public unsecure Wi-Fi networks when you're doing anything sensitive with your money.
Ah, like at a coffee shop or the airport?
Exactly, because those networks can be like an open door for fraudsters. It seems like a small thing, but avoiding them is a really savvy habit to get into.
Okay, noted. Public Wi-Fi is a no-go for banking, so managing and tracking is step 1. But if you want to go beyond that, maybe make your money work a bit harder. What's next?
Right, the next steps are much more about being proactive, getting ahead.
Okay.
So number 3 is save money. And this isn't just about, socking away huge chunks of cash.
Right, not just big windfalls.
No. The source suggests putting those added extras, maybe a pay rise or money you saved by, say, cutting back on takeaways. Even a small competition prize, put it straight into savings. Don't even let it hit your main account.
Good discipline.
And it also challenges you to question those impulse buys. Do I really need the brand new phone right now? Or, can I actually get through the afternoon without that chocolate bar?
Daily struggle.
It is. And for students, it points out specific tools like Unidays or totem cards for discounts. Even small, consistent savings actions build up. It's about momentum.
Those small wins, yeah. Okay, what about the flip side? Debt. That can feel like a huge obstacle for people. How do you get savvy about tackling that?
Yeah, paying off debts. That's number 4, and it's a really big one for financial freedom.
Definitely.
So for mortgages, if your lender's terms allow it, overpaying even slightly can massively speed up repayment. Saves you a ton in interest long term.
Right.
For other loans, same principle. Even paying a little bit extra each month can make a significant difference. Knock it down faster.
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. The source also mentions student bank accounts often have useful perks, like coach cards or rail cards, worth checking out. And understanding overdrafts is key, too. Well, basically, treating them as an absolute last resort, not just extra spending money. Especially for students, it's easy to fall into that trap.
Okay, so save proactively, tackle debt strategically. Now, budgeting, you mentioned it earlier. Lots of people know they should budget, but actually doing it and sticking to it, that feels hard.
It does. It really does. And the sources acknowledge that. Number 5 is create and stick to a budget, and they admit, yeah, it's not easy.
But worth it.
Absolutely worth it. The power it gives you to make your money stretch further, and maybe more importantly, to reduce that financial stress. It's huge.
So what's the trick? How do you actually make it stick?
Well, the source suggests making it personal and tangible. Don't just have abstract numbers. Map out your actual monthly expenses. Know when subscriptions are due.
It's specific.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Create a personalized spreadsheet if that works for you, or use one of the many free mobile apps out there. It mentions Bean, Mint, Money Dashboard, Yolt.
Lots of options.
Yeah. The key thing is setting actual financial goals, things that motivate you. So the budget doesn't feel like a prison. It feels like a map to get you where you want to go.
I like that framing. A map, not a prison.
Right. And once you have that budget, the next logical step, number 6, is to analyze your outgoings.
Okay, so look closer at where the money's actually going.
Precisely. Actively question it. Like, am I really watching Netflix and Amazon Prime Video enough to justify both? Or is that gym membership worth it if I'm mostly just running in the park now?
Ouch. Calling me out on the gym membership.
Well, the advice is just to rethink those subscriptions and services you don't use regularly. Turn that analysis into actual savings. Be honest with yourself.
It's about mindful spending then, not just tracking numbers.
Exactly. Which leads nicely into the last step, number 7.
Be smart.
Okay, bit broad. What does be smart mean here?
It's kind of the umbrella principle. It covers a wider view of financial decision-making, boiling down to making informed choices.
Always compare prices. Always. Use those price comparison websites for everything. Car insurance, home insurance, energy providers, even flights, using Skyscanner or similar sites. Don't just auto-renew or buy the first thing you see.
Takes effort, but probably saves a lot.
Definitely. And for investors, the advice is similar. Focus on the long term. Don't make snap decisions based on market freakouts. Stick to your objectives.
So being smart is about research, comparison, and long-term thinking.
Yeah. The real insight, I think, across all 7 steps isn't just about saving pennies. It's about shifting your whole mindset from being reactive with your money to being proactive and in control. That's where the real well-being and, honestly, empowerment comes from. Financial clarity.
That makes a lot of sense. Proactive control, not reactive regret. Okay, so we've covered financial savvy pretty thoroughly. Hugely important for well-being.
Absolutely.
But life isn't just spreadsheets and bank accounts, right? It's also about people. So how does this whole idea of savvy translate to our interactions, especially at work, in professional settings? Our second source, this one from Penn Human Resources, dives right into this. It defines interpersonal savvy as, let me get this right, relating openly and comfortably with varied groups of people.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating about the source is how it breaks down interpersonal savvy using something called behaviorally anchored rating scales, BARs.
Okay, sounds technical.
It's basically a way to describe specific behaviors expected at different job levels. So it shows a clear progression of what interpersonal savvy looks like as you move up.
Ah, I see. So it's not one size fits all.
Not at all. So at the entry or support level, being savvy is about the basics. Establishing good working relationships, being able to start conversations and build rapport, taking feedback tactfully.
You mean not getting defensive?
Exactly. Not being defensive or dismissive. And just generally maintaining an open, friendly, accepting vibe. Being approachable, essentially.
Okay, foundational stuff. So what happens when you move up, say, to an independent contributor role? How does savvy deepen then?
Well, the focus shifts a bit. It becomes more about actively building rapport by finding common ground, shared interests, shared priorities.
So connecting on a deeper level.
Yeah, and also exercising diplomacy. Handling difficult interpersonal situations smoothly. being able to relate well to a wider variety of people, both inside and outside the organization.
Okay.
And importantly, picking up on social cues, even the subtle ones, reading the room, basically. It's a more nuanced level of interaction. Your effectiveness really starts to depend on understanding the people around you.
That makes perfect sense. It gets more complex. So for managers, directors, I'm guessing it becomes even more strategic.
Exactly right. When you start leading people, interpersonal savvy takes on this much bigger, more strategic dimension.
So for, say, supervisors and managers?
For them, savvy means being able to navigate complex group dynamics, not just one-on-one, but in team settings. Connecting with people by showing genuine interest in what they want, what their concerns are.
More empathy involved.
Definitely. And coaching team members on their interpersonal skills. Plus, tackling those difficult team situations, conflicts, disagreements, doing it openly, sensitively, fairly, really focusing on building group harmony. It's about creating that positive team environment.
Okay. And then right at the top, directors, executives. Does it become about shaping the whole culture?
Precisely. At the director and executive level, interpersonal savvy really broadens out. It's about building wide-ranging relationships, not just internally, but actively building connections in the wider community, too.
Representing the organization.
Exactly. Representing the organization with diplomacy and tact, especially in high-stakes, visible situations. And it's about deliberately cultivating a positive culture, making sure the interpersonal and group dynamics are healthy and flourishing, both inside the company and how the company interacts externally. So the profound insight here, I think, is that real interpersonal savvy isn't just about being nice or good with people. It's strategic.
Right.
It's about building trust, building influence, creating an environment where people can actually collaborate effectively, and ultimately shaping the entire organizational ecosystem for success. It's huge.
It really connects the dots between individual behavior and organizational health. Okay, so we've got financial savvy, interpersonal savvy. Our final source kind of pulls this all together, right, in the business context.
It does. It talks about how today's world, fast-moving, flatter organizations, tons of customer choice, means that future-proofing your organization requires something specific from leaders at every level.
And that something is?
Strong business acumen.
Business acumen. Okay, another term we hear a lot. What does the source say that actually is? How is it the ultimate savvy?
Well, it's defined pretty clearly as the knowledge of how organizations actually operate, how they create value, and how they gain a competitive edge.
So understanding the nuts and bolts of the business itself?
Exactly. And the source argues that for really effective, efficient decision-making, all employees, not just the top brass, need to understand three critical interconnected skills.
3 skills. Okay, what are they?
Strategy, market, and finances.
Strategy, market, finances. Okay.
And here's the kicker. The source says nearly 70% of employees often lack the crucial business information they need in these areas to make smart decisions.
70%. Wow, that's a huge gap.
It's a massive gap. It really puts organizations at a disadvantage if their people don't grasp these things.
Okay, we definitely need to unpack these 3 skills then, because it sounds like they're essential no matter what your job title is.
Absolutely critical. So first up, strategy.
Right, and this isn't just for the CEO planning the 5-year vision.
Not at all. A good, clear business strategy should inform everyone's day-to-day work. One expert in the source makes a great point. Many strategies fail because they do not represent a set of clear choices. People mistake goals for strategy.
Okay. Strategy is about the how, not just the what.
Precisely. It's about understanding the specific path the organization has chosen and why that path. So the questions change depending on your role.
Like how?
Well, for an individual contributor, the savvy question is, what is our strategy, and how does my specific work help us get there?
Connecting your tasks to the big picture.
Right. For a manager, it's, okay, given that strategy, how can my team best contribute to executing it?
Making it operational.
Yep. And for a director, it's more about resource allocation. How should our strategy guide my decisions on prioritizing projects and spending money?
Got it.
When everyone understands the why, engagement goes up, success rates go up, it just makes sense.
Totally. Knowing your work matters in the grand scheme. Okay, so strategy is first. What about market? Being market savvy.
So being market-oriented or market savvy means really understanding how what your company offers actually creates value for customers.
Yeah.
And how you stack up against competitors.
Knowing your place in the world.
Kind of, yeah. It requires understanding your organization's business model. Like, who are our customers? What problems do we solve for them? How are we different? How do we find more customers? How do we get them to buy more? And crucially, how do we actually make money doing all this?
A lot of questions there.
There are. And the impact is huge.
Yeah.
The source cites Deloitte research showing customer-centric companies that really get this market stuff, are 60% more profitable.
60%? That's significant.
It really is. So again, the questions vary by role.
Right.
An individual contributor should be asking, who are our customers? What problem are we solving for them? Basic, but vital.
Foundational understanding.
A manager thinks more broadly. How can my team help meet customer needs in a way that's different from competitors, makes money, and maybe even tailored to different customer groups?
Adding the differentiation and profit angle.
Exactly. And a director needs to look at the whole value chain. What value are we delivering? Through which channels? What are our biggest costs? And importantly, how do we find new ways to deliver value in the future?
Always looking ahead. Okay. Strategy, market. And the third one was finances, which I imagine can feel a bit scary for people not in finance roles.
I can feel intimidating, yeah. But the source is clear. It's non-negotiable for business savvy.
Why so critical?
Well, as one Harvard Business School professor quoted puts it, finance is the way businesses keep score.
Can't play the game if you don't know the score.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every leader, no matter their department, should be able to read and understand the basic financial reports.
Like balance sheets, income statements.
Yeah. Balance sheets, what the company owns and owes. Income statements, is it profitable? And cash flow statements, where's the money actually moving? Basic stuff.
But maybe not widely understood.
Apparently not. A global financial literacy survey found most adults score below 70% on a basic test.
Wow.
Yet the need for these skills is growing, expected to increase 16% by 2028. And nearly 90% of professionals feel these skills are important for their own careers.
Huge disconnect between need and current skill level then.
Massive. So again, thinking by role, an individual contributor should grasp. How does the company make money? Is it financially healthy? Just the basics.
Big picture financial health.
A manager needs to dig a bit deeper. What drives our revenue and growth? How does that connect back to our strategy?
Linking finance and strategy.
Yep. And a director needs to look at both lagging indicators, past performance, and leading indicators, future potential, to ask, are we even competing in a growing market?
Strategic financial oversight.
Right. And the source stresses, you don't need a finance degree for this. It's about familiarity with key terms and paying attention to the company's numbers, making better decisions because you understand the financial implications.
So it sounds like real business acumen, real savvy here, isn't just knowing about strategy, market, or finances in isolation.
No, absolutely not.
It's about weaving them together, like seeing how a strategic choice affects the market position and the financial results. Is that the ultimate savvy?
That is exactly it. You've nailed it. The ultimate business savvy isn't just having siloed knowledge. It's connecting the dots. It's the ability to see, okay, if we make this operational change, how does that impact the bottom line? Or there's a shift in the market. How should that tweak our strategy?
Seeing the ripple effect.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's the ability to zoom out, see the whole system, understand how all these pieces, strategy, market, finance, interact and depend on each other.
Right.
And then making decisions that create value across the entire organization. That integrated understanding. That's what separates someone who's just informed from someone who is truly business savvy.
Wow. Okay, it is crystal clear that savvy is so much more than just the throwaway word.
Definitely.
From handling your own money with real intention to navigating tricky team dynamics with grace and understanding the big interconnected picture of how a business actually works.
Yeah.
Being truly savvy means having this perceptive, comprehensive, and shrewd approach to a whole range of practical things in life. It's about being an active, informed player in your own world, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Which I guess brings us to a final thought. If being savvy is all about understanding and applying knowledge shrewdly, perceptively, how can you, listening now, consistently cultivate that?
Good question.
How do you keep sharpening that perception and practical know-how when the world keeps changing so fast? Because it's not just about what you learn today, right? It's how you continuously adapt that understanding and apply it to whatever comes next.
So maybe the question for everyone listening is, what insight from this deep dive will you consciously bring to your next money decision or maybe your next meeting at work? How will you actively be more savvy tomorrow?
Exactly. Food for thought.